Hello, everybody. Warm here, and it is time. I hope you're all ready. I know I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling prepared. I was wondering how I'd feel when I got here tonight, and now it took me a while, but I think I'm ready. I'm ready to get in here and to find whoever did this. I hope as quickly and efficiently as I can. This is a tough one. At least it feels like it's a tough one to me. I think I understand some of the aspects that are occurring here. Let's go over a bit about what we know. We know that the time of death for our two victims is going to be an important topic of discussion. I know that there are two major suspects at this point in time are Kazuichi and Sonia, due to us not knowing where they were at the time of the incident. But with that being said, the fact that the exact times of death are uncertain may mean that Kaz and Sonia not being around for that particular amount of time may not be indicative of their guilt just yet. But they're the two ones that we're probably going to have to start with. The killing appears to be an imitation of the film that we saw with Monami and Monokuma. At least the first two deaths that were in that movie. But there's some strange things going on. I want to guess that Hajime was shown either a recording or a stream of the conference room in the hospital rather than the music venue. And I want to say that in that video he was shown, the culprit was using the robes, the patient robes from room 4, and was wearing the hemp bag over their head, while the other hemp bag was over Ibuki's head. And they wore that hemp bag to obscure that it, wasn't actually Ibuki that was doing that. Still not sure, sort of, where the time, how long it's a bit odd how long it took for when Hajime left to get everyone and come back. The fact that Hyoko was able to be tied up there in that short amount of time. This one's and then of course we have the despair disease. Ibuki herself was gullibility, and so she might have been told to do things and carried them out on behalf of the culprit before she herself was killed, or made to kill herself, if that ends up being the direction we go. I'm sure there's plenty of small things I'm missing. We know Hyoko, at the suggestion of Sonia, we don't know for sure, but it is possible that Hyoko, at the suggestion of Sonia, went to the music venue in order to utilize the full body mirror in order to try and tie her kimono. That seems to be what she did, considering that the kimono was tied, but not tied correctly. So, did Hyoko stumble upon something and was killed herself? It's hard to say. It could be that Ibuki was meant to be the only one to be killed, but then Hyoko stumbled upon the culprit, and the culprit had to kill her. I had some trouble thinking of reasons for killing two people, but now that I have been through the investigation, I see that there can be multiple reasons, and so it may not have been as clear as I thought it once was. In any case, it's time to do this. It's time to get in here and avenge our two classmates. You know, I may not have particularly been attached to these two. Interestingly, I was kind of more attached to... I wasn't attached overly to either of them, but of the two, I'd say almost Hyoko more, because we were dealing with her issues revolving around Mihiru and Fuyuhiko. And so I'm sure you may have heard me. I'm upset about it, and so I want to get this done. I want to find whoever did this. And let's see, what other preparations do we need to do? Decrease the delay. Yeah, that's good, I think. Yeah, that's good. And that's everything. Okay. I need to buy more skills. I'm gonna do a quick rundown, see what we got here. That indicates that Hyoko may have been killed first, these. Rope for hanging. Nagito had questions about whether it was really this rope that killed her or where it came from. I'm not sure I'm remembering that correctly. Kei was with Hyoko deep in her kimono, so she probably didn't, or the killer probably didn't mess with it. Scrap of thick paper belonged to the, was it a carpet or it was in the storage room. I can't remember, but it was a whole roll of it there. Music venue curtain brought from the supermarket, so this was prepared long in advance. And similar carpet was in the conference room. Step ladder had blood on it, maybe from a scuffle or something. And also the step ladder did not have blood in the video Hajime saw. Candle that supposedly lit up the video. Yep. But the question was, the question they were asking in relation to this was, why didn't they just use the lights from on the music venue on the stage? And well, the answer could be the fact that that video was actually taken from the hospital and there were no other lights, so they had to use a candle. But then, because they saw that, they put a candle on the stage to mimic that. Smashed surveillance camera unit. Maybe they had to smash it in order to show that this wasn't actually the one that the feed was going to, because we know that they're matched camera to camera, or excuse me, camera to display particularly. I'm not sure I worded that correctly, but we know from Kaz that there's something particular about the connections between the specific cameras and the specific displays. So this could have been smashed to obscure such a connection. Temperature was altered in order to, perhaps Mikan suggested, in order to obscure the times of death. They're going to be important. Smudge on the floor, but it was wiped up. Not entirely sure why. To show that it happened, to obscure that it happened a while back, maybe. I'm not too sure about that. This was, yeah, I guess I thought it was glue, but I'm not sure exactly, because if it was glue, then why bother with the drumstick? I'm not sure. Mikan's account. Realized Ibuki, yeah, she was with Hajime the whole time in the morning. So if someone accuses us, or accuses Hajime, we can counter with this. Yep. Looks a bit, the figure looks maybe a bit like a bigger frame in their body, like a bigger frame than Ibuki. Ibuki's pretty thin, pretty small. Fuyuhiko's account. Okay. Sony's account. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm still confused. Maybe this won't be brought up, but it's still confusing to me the fact that Hajime unlocked the room and with the key and walked in, and Sonya was already in there. That's kind of weird to me, but maybe we can just hand wave that as something. I don't know. It's a bit weird to me though. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe she walked in with us, but I don't think she did. Anyway, this will be important because stamped. It shows when it was stamped. It says 13th. Does that mean the 13th stamp? So a total of 13 people saw the movie. Is that what it means? But it also shows the time, 10:04 a.m. I'm sure that's gonna be for something. Like whether someone doesn't have a stamp or the fact that their stamp shows where they were at that particular time. There's a second tote bag, we know. Wizard of Monami. Yeah, shows the order when they died, but this could just be, as we saw, as we talked about during the investigation, it could be an imitation, but they're using that imitation to throw us off intentionally. Again, this could be a thing with the orders of the deaths, trying to confuse us more. Okay, that's everything. I am a bit worried about the games, the non-stop debates. You know, I could get stuck on it again, but you know, regardless, I gotta push forward. I gotta do this. I gotta do this for Ibuki. I gotta do it for Yoko. You know, they need closure. Neither of them deserved this madness, and I need to finish it for them more than anything else. So let's get doing this. I hope you're all ready. Yep. Here we go.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it.
Also, forgot to bring up, Nekomaru is not here, and I'm curious as to whether he or his status will enter into this discussion at any point. I almost feel like that's cheating, because Monokuma has been so evasive on Nekomaru. So, something to keep in mind, but it may not end up being important. So, I'm curious if Nekomaru's spot has a portrait. So I'm just gonna say, no, I think he's just empty. Okay. So let's do this.
If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. Oh well, who cares about this boring explanation? Let's get on with it already!
I don't mind starting the trial, but I don't really have a grasp of how the case played out.
Yeah, Hajime didn't really want to tell you.
You know, because I was asleep the whole time.
Well, you weren't really asleep. You were kind of babbling nonsense.
Even if you do grasp it, you're just gonna confuse the heck out of us, aren't you?
Well, I don't know about that, Kaz. In the last trial, he did provide some crucial aid at several points in the trial. It helped corner Fuyuhiko and Peko by extension. Or I should say cornered Peko and by extension Fuyuhiko.
But Nagito's not alone. I don't really get it either.
True, you were also out of it.
You're fine. Your head's empty anyway.
Rude, Kaz. Rude.
Empty head? What's wrong with that? Listen up. The emptier your head, the more dreams you can stuff inside it, you know?
That's an interesting take. Optimistic. I like it.
Anyway,
We shouldn't proceed with the trial if those two can't participate in the arguments.
Fair.
Since he's the first witness, why don't we ask Hajime to explain the incident and the sequence of events?
Yeah, I think you gotta, Hajime. We gotta start this.
Then, let's start with when we split into the hospital team and motel team because of the despair disease.
We're getting very clearly. Yes, this will be important to know from the outset what was happening.
The hospital team consisted of Nagito, Ibuki, and Akane, who were infected, and Mikan, Fuyuhiko, and me.
Mm-hmm.
The other 5 on the motel team were myself, Gundam, Kazuichi, Chiaki, and Hyoko.
And Monami was running around sometimes.
Spending the night at the hospital was prohibited, so Hajime and I had to sleep at our cottages.
I feel like we should have told them this earlier.
I woke up at my cottage on the day
But
the incident happened.
maybe it doesn't matter.
Mikan came by to wake me up and told me that Nagito had recovered from his symptoms.
That's right.
We immediately headed over to the hospital, and after we confirmed his recovery, I made Mikan rest in the on-call room, since she hadn't slept all night, while I waited in the hospital lobby.
Yes, and immediately the...
And then, I
Yes.
saw the incoming signal light on the surveillance camera blinking before our scheduled time.
Uh-huh.
When I pressed the button to turn on the monitor, what appeared on screen was...
Either... I'm saying it's either pre-recorded video or a stream. A pre-recorded video or a stream of the conference room in the hospital. That's my guess. That's what I'm going for.
A video of someone wearing a hospital gown and a hemp bag on their head.
Oh, I don't
Climbing
remember.
a stepladder.
That should be... There were... No. Okay, wait. I can check this. Hang on. I can check this. I need to go back. I'm going back to my recording of, what would it be? 2 episodes back? Forgive my... Hello, everybody. You might hear me double. I'm going to turn that volume down for it. Here we go. Hang on. There were 2 step ladders in the... Okay, where? Come on, me. Go to the storage room. Go to this. Where is it? Go to the storage room. Okay, wait. Okay. Yes, in the storage room. Weren't there originally 2 step ladders? Oh, I need to go back to like when we were... Hang on. Not that episode. Music venue. Where? That was free time. I apologize, because I'm just keeping it on one screen. This one then. Come on. Here we go. I missed it. Where was it? Here it is. Yes, I'm correct. Okay. There are 2 step ladders. Just like there are 2 hemp bags, there are 2 step ladders and that were there before any of this happened, and after the investigation, or during the investigation, the second one was missing, as well as the first. Sorry.
Amazing! That's
Sorry.
such a heart-pounding
Okay.
story.
That's
And
just
then
extra.
What did you do, Hajime?
More as evidence that this was the scene was duplicated. It was yes.
I tried to stop them, of course.
Okay. That probably wasn't worth it to leave the scene on that, but I wanted to follow that
I
train
rushed
of
out of the
thought.
hospital and ran to where the video was being recorded, the music venue.
But that's not where it was recorded.
But it was too late. By the time I arrived, the person wearing the hemp bag on their head was already hanging from the ceiling. I thought I should tell the
Oh,
others
you
right
notice
away,
how the light
so I
was
headed to the
on
motel.
in that scene just now? But that wasn't what it was in the video.
Why the motel?
Because it was close to the music venue. And unlike the hospital, there were more able-bodied people there. At least, that's what I thought. The only person who came with me was Chiaki.
But I remember feeling a little relieved because not long after, we met up with Mikan and Fuyuhiko.
We were also looking for Ibuki since she disappeared from our sight.
After I rested for a bit, I started counting everyone at the hospital, and then I noticed Ibuki was gone. So I sprinted out of the hospital. Coincidentally, I ran into Fuyuhiko. So I pled with him in various ways to see if he could help me out.
Various ways?
Don't say it like that and confuse people.
Yeah, Kaz. You're not helping so far this trial.
After I heard from those two that Ibuki disappeared, I had a feeling she was the person wearing the hemp bag. So I immediately led them to the music venue.
Yep.
But the door wouldn't open. Since we had no other option, the four of us broke down the door. And when that happened, we didn't just find Ibuki's body.
Yeah, this is a
We
tough
also
one.
found Hyoko's.
Like, they must have immediately after Hajime left sprang into action to do this.
And not just that. Her body was taped to a pillar.
And that pillar has stickers on it, and I don't remember. I probably should have
That's
checked
when
that,
we heard the body discovery announcement. Not once, but twice in a row.
but I'm not going to do that again, so.
And so we decided to lower the hanged body, didn't we?
We did.
When we removed the hemp bag, just as we feared, it was Ibuki.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the case played out. Thank you. I understood it very easily.
Yep. So, any initial thoughts, Nagito?
Well, it's clear what the problem with this case is. When Hajime left the music venue, who...
Fuyuhiko thinks there was someone hiding. Well, yeah, there had to have been.
Wait, how do I know anything Hajime just said is true?
Fair. It's fair for Nagito to ask this. Yeah, I did speculate on this during the investigation that Hajime could become an early suspect for this.
Sorry, I'm only being impartial right now. And the story I just heard is clearly suspicious. Hajime, if you're the only one who saw the hanging video, and the first one to discover Ibuki's body, then you could be lying as much as you want right now, right?
He could be.
Lie? Why would I lie?
Hajime, this is not... Well, I have heard, I'm not a psychologist, I do not know, but I've heard that if you're being accused of something you didn't do, the natural reaction is to feel indignant and, be upset that you're being accused. So, understandable for Hajime to act like this, but what he needs to do, what we will have to do, is present evidence.
Obviously. So you could make us ignore what might be an inconvenient truth for you.
Do you doubt me?
If you're not lying, I would like you to prove it. Come on, try to prove it to me. Prove you're not the killer.
Alright, we will. I have to. Because I need to find out who really did this. It's just as Kazuichi said, Nagito's the kind of guy who'll just confuse us and make matters worse. No, I mean, I think this is fair to ask. Damn it, I shouldn't have explained it to Nagito. I'm in trouble. Well, that's kind of unreasonable, Hajime. We had to explain it. I wonder if we were specifically targeted by the killer. Well, no, because Fuyuhiko could have just as easily seen it, right? Okay. Oh, I need to pay attention. Hang on, let's just...
testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime's the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously, because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie means it probably
Okay.
is Hajime's fault.
Nope. Okay. I think the ticket, right? Yeah, so we didn't see the movie. And Nagito should... Okay, now I'm seeing Nagito's being... Okay, hang on.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
So hang on, Nagito's
would
being
also be
weird,
a lie.
right? Because he should know for sure.
think I can deny
We hadn't
that
seen the movie
possibility.
till the very
all,
end.
Hajime's
But he's
the only witness.
jumping on us like this.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously, because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. And you should know it's wrong.
I'm not the killer. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to imitate that movie.
That's right.
Of course you're not. I already knew
Yeah, why
that.
you... You're just... Okay. Let's move on.
Before the incident, Hajime had never watched that movie. His invitation ticket is proof of that.
Nagito's become like this weird wild card in this game. And it's weird because I don't know how to react to him sometimes. Sometimes I'm cheering for him, other times I just want him to stop, but it's so strange. It's like I almost want to say what drives him, but we know what drives him. This weird, strange philosophy he has developed or adopted. So, I will say this. Nagito is not boring.
Each person only received one ticket, and they're marked with a stamp that shows the date and time.
So the 13th is the date, yeah.
Isn't that right, Monokuma?
Don't tell me it's Friday the 13th or something.
Yes, no mistakes there.
Which means there's no way Hajime, who never saw the movie, could commit murders that imitated
Well,
it.
that's actually not true, Nagito. He still could have imitated it if someone told him what the movie contained. And it could even explain why there weren't 3 people, because he only heard it secondhand and didn't get the full... But obviously, the person who told Hajime the movie would speak up, right? So, no, maybe that doesn't work. But this is acceptable. This is
Or
acceptable.
did anyone tell him what happened?
Hey,
to
there we
him?
go.
Of course no one did, right?
There we go. Just what I was talking about. Yeah.
Hold on a sec. You're the one who brought this up in the first place.
Nagito, what are you doing?
He's acting out whatever he thinks is best, I guess.
Well, since we're opening with your witness testimony, I thought we should solidify the foundation. It also provides a good warm-up.
This guy, man.
What warm-up? This isn't a game, you know.
Sorry to say, Hajime.
Don't get mad. I just think warming up is really important. Especially since this isn't a game.
What a waste of time. Well, I knew it would turn out like this anyway.
Now then, since we know Hajime's testimony is reliable, let us move on to the arguments.
All right.
So this means Ibuki definitely climbed the stepladder all by herself, right?
We don't know that. Well, everything I'm saying is going to be... Because eventually we're going to have to find out that it's fake. Or it's not fake, it's just the video that Hajime saw is not depicting what really happened. So all this argument is like superfluous right now because we don't know the truth.
Yeah, I'm positive.
We don't know what actually happened in the music venue at all.
Then that seals it. Ibuki committed suicide.
I don't know. If she was still under the influence of the despair disease, I can imagine she was ordered to do it and could have done it. But again, not necessarily.
If Ibuki committed suicide, then who killed Hiyoko?
The culprit who made Ibuki commit suicide or killed her.
A murder coincidentally occurring in the same place as a suicide ain't possible, huh?
I don't know about that, but maybe unlikely?
Like I said before, it's pretty clear what the problem with this case is.
So Fuyuhiko's gonna say who was hiding in the music venue and where, and this is gonna be a... Well, no, someone had to be there to tie up Hiyoko, right? I'm probably missing something there.
The killer murdered Hiyoko while Hajime was gone.
No, Hiyoko was already dead.
So all we gotta do is establish who could have possibly done that.
Then let's ask Hajime. How long would you say you were away from the music venue?
It wasn't long.
I couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Even not having to kill Hiyoko, you know, they had to tie her up pretty quick.
So they killed
I guess
Hiyoko and taped her up within 10 minutes? There's no way that's possible.
Tape her up in just 10 minutes, maybe? Still... I guess within 10 minutes could tape her up, I guess.
That's why the killer stalled for time by making the music venue a closed room.
What do you mean, a closed room?
The killer blocked the venue door from the inside to try and keep us from entering right away.
However, that door is the only entrance to the music venue, right?
Which means they must have been hiding in there.
If they blocked the door from the inside, the killer would not have been able
Yep.
to leave either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Which means, when we broke down the venue door, the killer was still inside.
I think it's eventually going to be the case that the killer was not inside, but we're going to have to somehow explain that Hiyoko got tied up somehow, but I don't see how.
They were?
If that's the case, the only suspicious people are those who don't have an alibi for that time.
Which would be Sonia or Kazuichi, but again, I think this is too early.
And that's you two, Sonia and Kazuichi.
Me too?
Sonia just has some weird things going on this episode. What with the liking of, well, the problem with her just liking serial killers and wanting to imitate. That's like me saying, oh, because there was cooking in the first chapter, so it had to be Tero. That was true in that case, but I should say it's more like in the second trial where there was a video game, so I instantly suspected Chiaki. And I know that's a, you know, that's potentially a mistake to do. But that weird thing with like not only being in the room that I thought was locked, but the fact that she also suggested the thing to Hiyoko. I suspect Sonia more than Kaz, but I'm still hesitant to firmly suggest it.
What the hell? Why's it gotta be us?
What's your alibi? What were you doing then?
The others all have alibis.
Yeah.
Chiaki, Mikan, Hajime, and I all broke down the venue door together. Gundam met up with Hajime at the motel right before that. And if Akane and Nagito were laid up in the hospital, the only person that leaves is one of you.
There's another person who doesn't have an alibi. You know, Nekomaru.
Yeah. He's a wild card. It's strange. I don't know.
Me too!
Oh, Monaco.
Hey, why are you talking like... Huh?
Talking like Nekomaru.
You're kidding, right? You're not up to something weird, are you?
Please stop making bad jokes.
Anyway, if the killer was hiding inside the venue, we should obviously doubt the people who don't have alibis.
What a wicked way of backing us into a wall. Is this his professional skill?
Yeah. Alright. This one's gonna be tough, I think. Maybe the video? Hang on, let's
The killer was
concentrate.
still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside. They tried to keep us from getting in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they looked like they had just rushed over.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
So someone's contradicting something.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
From the inside.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door?
Stall for time.
That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
So there are only 3 statements I can...
You can use that as a bolt to
Mess
lock
with.
the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and
Okay,
suddenly
hang on.
appeared.
So they looked like they had just rushed over.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside,
It's not this,
they
is
tried
it?
to keep us
Ah,
from
dang
getting
it.
in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a... By doing that, the killer waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they looked like they had just rushed.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside.
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
I wasn't sure about that.
Wait a sec. There's also a possibility that the door was locked from the outside.
I'm not sure I get this, but continue, Hajime.
From the outside? How? There was a semi-transparent glob stuck to the venue door. Maybe that's what they used.
Semi-transparent glob. Like rubber, maybe?
I said glue.
I see!
Yeah.
That semi-transparent glob must have been glue.
I'm not sure I understand the mechanics of this. So the idea here is that the drumstick was never on the door. We just saw a broken drumstick, and Fuyuhiko suspected it was what barred the door. And so this glue... When was the glue put on the door?
Glue?
Yeah, I think so too.
When did this occur, though? I'm confused.
It had a firm, gel-like chewiness.
Yeah, you
and
put
I
it
could
in
smell
your
workshop
mouth.
chemicals the moment I put it in my mouth.
Well, I guess she didn't swallow it, so that's good, but... Yuck.
Based on all that, I'm certain it was glue.
I don't like how you can tell that with certainty.
I didn't know glue was edible.
No, Akane, please.
I believe it is not something one typically eats.
That glue was only applied to the areas where both doors touched.
So it could have been applied from outside, yeah.
By pouring it in the gaps of the closed door, they must have sealed the venue door from the outside.
Pouring it in the gaps of the closed door. But when did they do that? Right after Hajime left?
And thanks to that, a glob of glue was left where the door was stuck. Yep, it fits perfectly.
But if you just stick them together with glue, you'd be able to break down the door easily, you know?
That doesn't really matter. The killer only did that to make us think the door was locked from the inside.
To throw suspicion on whoever didn't have an alibi at the time.
What'd you say?
First of all, didn't that drumstick we found seem really obvious? Almost unnaturally so? It was so obvious that it makes more sense to think the killer placed it as a diversion.
Man, it's with the false video, all the stuff in the music venue. This is like so planned out. It's like the utter opposite of Fuyuhiko's case, because Fuyuhiko was he surrendered to his rage, and in the moment, you know, it happened, and then Peko had to think on the spot how to cover for him. And this is so complex.
Are you saying the drumstick was a trap the killer set on purpose?
I guess.
Then I totally fell for that fucking trap.
It's alright, Fuyuhiko, I did too.
Apologize to Miss Sonia and me. However, you're not allowed to slice open your stomach this time.
Fair enough.
In a quarrel, both sides are to blame. That's why it's better to just have no sides at all.
Interesting.
So, during the 10 minutes Hajime left the venue, the killer murdered Hiyoko and created a closed space?
Probably not.
And they also taped her up after killing her, right?
That's the part I'm not sure about.
Even quick work has limits.
Oh, what unimaginable speed for a slowpoke like me.
If they couldn't have done it while Hajime was away from the venue,
Then that means they did it before then.
they must have done it earlier than that.
Yes.
But when Hajime got to the venue, only Ibuki's body was there, right?
This is the thing.
And when you went back with everyone else, Hyoko's body was there too, right?
Was the pillar covered up? Was Hiyoko? Because the is this what the paper? Is this what the torn paper indicates? Was like. And the stickers, is this what the torn papers and stickers indicate? Were the pillars like wrapped and Hiyoko was behind that the whole time? And then I guess Hajime left, but the killer had to be outside, right? So they couldn't have taken it down and then put it in the storage because they weren't there at the time, but... Huh.
But it's possible that the body was just revealed at that time.
Yes.
When Hiyoko was actually killed earlier.
That's what I'm thinking, but I don't understand the mechanics of how this was done.
Just revealed?
Of course, the body wasn't revealed on its own. The killer did that too.
I hope this is not horribly convoluted, but it might be.
Here, I have proof.
Yes, but how? How did they do it?
That scrap of paper, is that what we found in the baton lighting at the music venue?
Baton? Baton? When last episode I decided to say baton? Okay, game. Fine, you got me. I'll call it baton lighting.
That's right, but just what is this scrap anyway?
It's part of that roll of paper that was in the storage room. I know what it is. Oh, we're doing this. Oh man, I don't know the word for it though. This? It's not E. W. It's wrapping paper. Wrapping paper? No, it's not wrapping paper. Of course, why would it be wrapping paper? What? Where? Wallpaper. Wall. Okay. This is getting out of my hands here. Thank you. There we go. Okay, wallpaper. There we go.
I got it! That scrap. Isn't it part of the wallpaper in the storage room?
I just want to know how they did it. From, you know, being out of the music venue.
In the music venue storage room, there should have been black wallpaper that's the same color as that scrap. There was also a tear along the edge of the wallpaper, wasn't there? If so,
You're right. If you overlay the scrap that was caught on the lighting with the tear in the wallpaper, see? It fits perfectly.
What, you just... I don't know how we're doing this. And it doesn't look like it fits perfectly, actually. But, okay.
I see. So the scrap that was caught on the baton lighting was originally part of the wallpaper.
And what's wrong with that? Does it have something to do with Hiyoko's body disappearing?
She was covered up. How long was she dead? Oh, this is awful.
A mere nobody like me isn't important enough to answer that. But if you guys were exceptional enough to identify that scrap of paper, you can figure this out easily.
Is this the... Oh, here we go. The new game. Let's do this. I'm a gamer. I can game. It was hidden. Yep. Hidden indeed. Question 2. Wallpaper. These questions seem kind of obvious. So far, so good. Ooh, okay, getting complicated. You can't get me with this sort of thing. I played the... Oh wait, what is this? Covered the pillar. Yeah, I played the, back in, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. I played the, what were they called? Speeder? I was a master at the speeder races.
it's all coming together!
Back in KOTOR days.
I got it! Hyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
So it seems...
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a
Yes, it
hidden
would.
body.
The only question I have is how they removed that paper. How did they do it?
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the
Because
wallpaper.
the wallpaper was put back in the storage room.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar.
This must have been noticeable, but I just didn't notice it.
So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Hyoko's body was already there. However,
Yeah.
because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Man, I wonder if there's anyone who genuinely was able to notice that the first time. Like when they put the pictures one after another right here, I can tell the difference. But yeah, I definitely wasn't able to catch that.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
The baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar. So using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers was to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music venue.
Yeah, but then we get back into the issue that the killer must have been hiding in the music venue.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper.
That is true. It's these small little mistakes that usually end up leading to their downfall.
And because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
The killer must have been in a hurry. If their plan took too long, Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is
So,
bold.
is he suggesting that... Hang on, let me see if I get this. He's suggesting that Hajime went in, saw the body, then left, and then the killer either came in after him or was still inside the venue. And after Hajime left, they took down the wallpaper, stuffed it in the storage room, then went outside and applied glue to the door? Is that what I'm getting?
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone.
Yeah, I guess less than taping her up. I guess that's less.
They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
And apply the glue, right?
Then, when was Hyoko actually killed?
Good question.
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
You know me. It was your movie.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
Hey, don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
I don't eat mothballs. I just enjoy looking at them. I knew it. There are so many similarities. It must have been intentional.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
That's not what the this is a silly thought, I know. But that's not what the camera and the display was supposed to be, right? This thing, is that meant to be like a stand-in for the Tin Man? I doubt it, but for some reason that idea popped in my
But
head.
why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Good question.
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations
Probably
isn't
to
that
throw us
difficult
off.
to figure out.
Throw us off on like the order they died. Yeah.
I see.
The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
Then, Hyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What in particular?
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
Why'd you look kind of defensive about that, Gundam?
I'm not even crying.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
What a jerk!
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying.
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right? That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed.
Because of the blood on her sandals.
That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the sylph's feather. Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
This is too early, right? This is too early.
Man, he's being annoying again.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed.
Yes,
How
it
can
was.
a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know
Gundam.
something like that?
Gundam, stop.
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
You're one to talk.
Yeah. Blood on the soles.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
Don't
I
even.
agree with that.
I agree with that. 'Cause that's still funny, but yeah, didn't even need to see the rest
Just
of
as Sonia said, Ibuki stepped on something.
it. That was an easy one.
That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries.
Not that we saw.
And it's Hiyoko's blood.
That's what it would seem to be. Maybe that's why they cleaned up why they attempted to clean up the blood on the
Hiyoko's
stage.
only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. And she died almost instantly, right?
Hopefully instantly.
If Ibuki stepped on her blood,
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hiyoko was killed.
Don't underestimate the power of the evil eye! Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Why are you doing this, Gundam? What's all this about, huh?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line. But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
You know, Gundam, your whole Persona thing has been fun to listen to this whole time. But, it's starting to piss me off a bit. So, just give it to me. Let's just do this.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status. However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Maybe smudge on the floor.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Allow me to cut through those words. That's not it.
That was
The
it?
reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Foolish, Gundam. Foolish.
Don't say such foolish things. You don't have proof of that at all.
Yes, I do. If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding.
Certainly around the neck there, you could see.
Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating. So I don't think they had to go that far.
Well, maybe they weren't a doctor.
Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
That seems to be the case.
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
The time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
Probably right.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now.
You are on thin ice, man.
Fine then. But regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Fine.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Yeah.
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like
Yeah.
this happen last time, too?
Yeah, and it was pretty important, so.
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
Yes, here's the thing, because if she was under the gullibility thing and told to do it, I believe there's a... I think it's plausible that she did it if she was told to.
The same as always. You have to vote for who the killer is. Think about it. A suicide means you've killed the most important existence of all, yourself. Unfortunately, that means there's no Blackened to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Nagito? What do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
Here's the thing, I made this point. Oh. I'm sorry, can you give me a minute? Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. A very big insect just was crawling across my wall. It had many legs, much more than a spider did. I don't know what it's called, but it was big. So I had to deal with that, and now I have. Okay, let's continue. What was I going to say? Here's what I was going to say. I had the thought that... due to the gullibility thing, not just what if Ibuki not only killed herself, what if she was ordered to kill someone else and then kill herself. That'd be crazy and awful and horrible. And I really hope that's not the case, because that is such a level of disgusting that I don't know, but I feel like it's a possibility, and I'm kind of scared of that, but let's continue.
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
So he got to where I was thinking, but not the same way.
That's totally impossible. Then she never would have killed her to begin with.
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders.
Yeah,
right?
she couldn't put up the wallpaper and all
After
that.
Hajime saw the hanged body, the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means the killer had to be alive at that time.
Then she was alive.
You're saying Ibuki hanged herself after Hajime left?
When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead.
I don't know, man. She was hanging there.
If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
She hanged herself. Remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging. Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
That's why I said when the very beginning, when Hajime discovered Ibuki, I was like, Hajime, you should run up there and like get up the ladder and try to, whether she was the criminal or not. Should have just tried to see if she was still alive or not.
I see. So that means there's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What the heck?
There's still one more issue on my mind. If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, just what was that video Hajime saw?
It was recorded in the conference room.
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder,
Not
right?
the same stepladder. The other stepladder had blood.
Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
Wouldn't have needed to. Despair disease.
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something. So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
So, an alibi. Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi. Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
Again, not necessarily. If I need to know if that thing could play pre-recorded videos.
But just to be sure, that
Yes.
surveillance
Thank
camera
you.
doesn't have a record function, right?
Thank you, Chiaki.
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Okay. Then it was a live feed to the conference room.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement. And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement.
Not necessarily because it was a fake video.
And
Or
since
wasn't
we
fake, but
established that
you get what I
Hyoko
mean.
was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi to
We're playing into the culprit's hand at this point, guys. Come on.
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement,
I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed!
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
I think
And
it's...
what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed...
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then...
No.
Crap!
We can exclude the sick.
And what about the...
Right before the morning, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the... What about you guys? I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi...
No, that's wrong!
Okay. Okay.
Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikan and I both have alibis.
You two have alibis?
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikan and I were actually together for a while.
Yeah, she was, groping me.
We even woke up together that morning.
Dang it, Mikan. I was saying it because they couldn't hear me. You just said it.
Hey, what kind of situation is that?
I accidentally fell asleep on top of Hajime.
You're just digging that hole deeper, huh?
Too much info.
Yeah, it's not like that. She just came to tell me Nagato's condition had improved.
And we went to the hospital together afterward. So we were together until right before the announcement.
I get it. You guys have alibis.
If that's the case, the killer must be someone else.
It's better if we think about it like that. The killer decided to falsify the murder sequence to hide the actual time of the crime anyway.
So it's inevitable that an alibi for both before and during the morning announcement would be very important.
It feels like Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has backed us into a corner instead.
But committing an imitation murder, is that really all it was?
No.
Faking the time the crime occurred by falsifying the murder sequence, hiding their alibi in the process? Was that the only reason the killer made both bodies imitate the movie?
Nope.
Are you saying there was another reason?
Yep.
I feel really bad for confusing you guys so much, but that's how I feel. I think the killer had a completely different reason for falsifying the murder sequence.
Yeah, to confuse the alibis. Yes. Yep, we are. Okay, made it through halfway.
Hiya!
Stop it!
Peel time.
What a disappointment!
I'm Monami.
Okay, everyone. Good episode. Good progress. Strangely, out of apparently left field, like last time, Gundam has now popped up on the radar due to his weirdly defensive behavior. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to sit on that one for a while. And if it was him, I will be how would I say? Absolutely furious. So, yeah, that's a good place to leave it off. I think I made good progress this time, so I hope you all, I hope you're all well, and I hope you enjoyed that. I'd say I'm enjoying this so far, and next time, I'm gonna nail whoever did this. So I will see you then, because it will probably be pretty soon.